Vision, the people perish. Welcome to Vision Plus, a program featuring a positive outlook, dealing with everyday situations of marriage, children, and business. Believing Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Teacher, author, speaker, delighting audiences from New York to Sacramento with a heart and message for the people today. Bonnie would like to remind you of the 800 number on the screen. Please feel free to call at any time throughout the broadcast and share your concerns. Leave your prayer request and someone will pray with you. And now, teacher, author, and speaker, Bonnie.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Vision Plus. We had an opportunity to see something during this Christmas holiday season that I just was so amazed that I wanted to share it with you. As you know, we do the show Vision Plus. Without a vision, the people perish. And I thought about without the people, the vision perish. And so we have some of both right now. I was looking, had three brothers in the Second World War, and my husband had four brothers and himself in the Second World War. And I was looking at how the statistics of how many people were wounded and killed, and there were together about 6 million people altogether. But the statistics were different from a lot of the people. So what I wanted to do was to share with you someone that is the youth pastor here, and he can correct me if he wants to get it straight. But I was just amazed at how many people were killed in World War I, World War II, the police action in Korea, Vietnam, and now in Iraq and Afghanistan. And I think that this young man has a solution that maybe we need to think seriously about and possibly even contact our political friends and see if there's some changes that can be made, but especially the change that can come within you. I write some for Guidepost magazine, as you know, and Guidepost says, what is the takeaway? I want you to think about what you can take away for what Haley has to say with you today, for you today. And don't forget, we do have the Hoodia for you that would like to start your diet after the first year. Call us at the toll-free number 877-823-6886. Now I'd like for you to meet Haley. Haley, tell me about yourself, a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with this program.
Well, my name's Haley Uhrig, and I'm the youth pastor here at Cross Point Church. And I got into ministry at actually a young age. I was 16, and I started doing some camps for some middle schoolers, and I fell in love with it. And I have a way to communicate, and I feel like we have a way to communicate to youth that's different than others.
I think all of us are youth at heart, so let's see the way you communicated this particular message. What did you call it?
Well, I was calling it, I wanted something for Christmas that we just realized how big and how powerful God was, and then really what Christmas was about.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us, let's just start and see what you have about the global warming and a lot of things that we're going to learn about. Well,
I started off with just the global warming and how global warming is it was an effect that I don't know if it's going on or not, because where we live in Alabama, it's, it was really cold one week, and then it was really warm, and it's December, and we're in short sleeves, and I just call that Alabama. I don't particularly call it global warming, but there was a problem that I noticed that started globally, and then I started looking at Iraq, and I have friends in Iraq, and they're going and coming from Iraq, and they just tell me how bad it is, and anytime you have soldiers dying in a war, it's a really bad thing, and something needs to be done, but we have to get it right the first time.
Yes. Well.
And then just another problem I was looking at was just nuclear weapons and how Iran and North Korea are having their nuclear weapons, and they're testing them and it's really scary of what they can actually do, and they're just kind of almost mocking us in a way of how they can do that. And then just some more problems. I just kept looking at them, or like the AIDS issue. And there's so many people with AIDS, and here in America, like most things, it just kind of faded away in the Americans' minds. And the statistics right here is there's over 45 million people that have AIDS, and there's 6,000 orphans every day because of new orphans because of what happens. And then just cancer. We all are affected by cancer, and what's going on with that is there was 1.5 million new cases of cancer this year, and it affects us all, and it affects us personally, and we all know somebody that has it, our friends, if not our family, and there was over 500,000 deaths because of cancer last year. And then just to bring it from a global perspective to personally, as we all deal with sin in our life, and the sin that's in our life, we all wrestle with it, and there's usually a particular sin that it's a daily sin, but it's deadly. The scripture says that the wages of sin is death. And so that just all those problems brought together, and I just wanted to, I don't want to make a statement about even the earth, the United States, or even here where we live. I wanted to talk about the universe and the state of the universe and how it was. And there is good news. There is really good news. And it is this. God is okay. God is where he wants to be. It's his plan, and he's in control. And I just want to take comfort looking at the Great Commission in Matthew chapter 28. We read in 19, it says, "Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. And I will be with you always." And it is comforting to know that he'll be with you always. But what I really take comfort in is what came before that. And it's a verse we can't forget to skip over. And it's verse 18. And Jesus just says, "I have been given authority over everything. In heaven and in earth, I've been given authority over all of it." And that is so comforting to know that he is in control. With all this going on, God's in control. And then I just really wanted to take that fact and just hang on to it, and we'll get back to it. And then, so we're going to go in a whole different direction here. And I wanted to start out with something that I knew well. And so I went and got a picture of really myself. And the picture that we're looking at it's me. And if you want an image of God, that's the image of God. We're said that we're made in the image of God. And so that is an image of God. The next slide I have is Crosspoint Church. And all the people inside Crosspoint on a Sunday morning, that is the image of God. All the faces, all the people you meet on the street, if you want an image of God, God says we're created in his image, and that image. That's what it looks like. That's what God has in mind, is each other and each other's faces. And then we have a picture of Alabama. In Alabama, God knew exactly what Alabama was going to look like. When he created it, he knew where the borders were going to be, the rivers were going to be, and it's just comforting to know that he created that. As we move on to North America, is knowing that God had a plan for North America. Even just to illustrate it real quickly, is in Europe when they couldn't worship God, they couldn't worship their own God. All of a sudden, here North America comes into the picture, and there is a place to worship our God, the one true God, not a bunch of gods, but our Lord and Savior God. And we just draw out even further, and we take a look at Earth and just God's creation as a whole. And he said he didn't have to form anything. He didn't have to mold it. He didn't take his hands and mold it. He spoke it. He said, "Let there be earth." And then he knew that there had to be light and darkness on earth. And then there was water, and then there was land, and he just spoke this into an existence. And then he spoke into existence the vegetation and then the animals. And then the last thing was actually humans ourselves. And we're going to get back to the creation of us in just a moment. But we're going to look at a farther pictures. We get our solar system. And in our solar system is God created it all. For light, we have the sun, and then we just move right on out. And there's Earth, and then Saturn. And Saturn, he just spoke Saturn into existence and kind of just boop, boop, and he got the rings around Saturn. And I don't know if that's how he created it, but in my head, that's how he created rings. And then even way out, and he thought Pluto. I don't know about Pluto. Yeah, Pluto. Yeah, we'll make Pluto a planet. So, and Pluto's got a hold of you, God. He knows that you're a planet. But God created all of that. And then God got hungry, and he thought, you know what? I want a Milky Way. So he created the Milky Way galaxy. And that's where we are. In that mass is Earth and where we are. But he created that. And even zooming out farther, now this is a pretty picture. This is what we call the Cat's Eye Nebula. And the Cat's Eye Nebula is really far away. And let me just tell you how far away it is. The speed of light is 186,000 miles per second. And that's really fast. That makes a light year 600 billion miles per year. Now, the Cat's Eye Nebula is 3,000 light years away, and that is far, and God created that. Now, what we're going to take a look at next, I believe, is a picture of, it has 62 galaxies on it, and those galaxies, God created them all, but I think there's an arrow on there, and it's pointing to one in particular one, and it's called the Redshift Galaxy. In this galaxy, it's the farthest one that we can see, and it makes the Cat's Eye Nebula look close. The Redshift Galaxy is 13 million light years away. That's number 78 followed by 20 zeros and miles away. That is far. There's no other way to explain it. We can't even grasp the distance in that. And here's what we can take from looking at all this, from ourselves all the way out to this Redshift Galaxy, is God is big. God is huge, and he is in control. When we go back to that first statement, he's in control. He's big and in control. Now, what's this have to do with Christmas? Christmas is about a baby. It's about a manger. It's about two teenagers who can't find a place to stay. What does God being so big and God being in control have to do? Well, when God created man, we're going to go back to God's last creation on earth, and that was us. And it says that in the cool of the day that God walked with man. And he was able to just walk with him and be with him, but man messed that up. And then he created the law, and man, we couldn't handle the law. So he said, you know what? That's it. I wanted to walk with you in the cool of day. I wanted you to have a relationship with me. And here's what Christmas is about. This is something that children everywhere know. And as adults, when we were younger, that we knew. And it's something that we can just take hold of. And it's this. Yes, Christmas is about baby Jesus. It is about a manger scene. But why baby Jesus? Why a manger scene? And here it is. Christmas is because of you. Christmas is because of us as people. It's for me and it's for you that God came down. We didn't get the first time around right when we were walking with God in the cool of day. We didn't get it right with the law. And so God said, you know what? I want a relationship with you so badly. I want to love you so badly. I want to be with you so badly. I want you to talk with me, to walk with me, to love me, that I'm coming down. And that's why we get Christmas. It's because of us. And he came down. And then the Christmas story goes on from there and ends up with Jesus dying on the cross. You want to talk about a Christmas present. And that's Jesus dying on the cross and then rising again in 3 days. Just because he's screaming out to us, I want to be with you. I want a relationship. I want to love you. I want you to love me. I want you to talk to me. I want to tell you how they go, what to do. I want to be with you. And that is why we have Christmas. It is about baby Jesus, but it's about baby Jesus coming to us.
One of the things that I understand, Haley, is that you said that yes, we are honoring the Jesus born, the Son of God, to a Virgin Mary, but also that he spent as a grown man 3 days in the earth and now came back and is alive. So tell us about the live Jesus that you talk about as youth.
Well, he's very much alive, and a lot of people get caught up on the cross and the beautiful image of the cross. But my heart flies out and just jumps for joy that he did die. It was a fact he was dead, and there was really no way for him to come back and be with us. But because Jesus is God and he did rise on the third day, that he is alive, and he is alive right now for us. And that is Christmas. That was the beginning of Christmas, and he is for us. He wants that relationship with us, and he is alive.
One of the amazing things is the way you work with the young people, and I think what all ages do you work with?
I work with from 4th grade all the way through seniors in high school.
Mm-hmm. And when they hit that big 1-3, they're now teenagers, in 13, 14, 15, how do you reach out to them? How do they comprehend what you're saying? Say if they haven't been in church and they're just now started with some friends.
Teenagers today just want truth. They want something that they can hold on to. They don't want, it could be this, it could be that way, and they feel good. They want to know up front what the truth is, and they don't want to play around. So really, what I want to get across to teenagers is Jesus wants that relationship. It's not a religion. It's not sitting in church. It's not singing the right songs, saying the right words in prayer. It is a one-on-one relationship with Jesus, who is in control and that big, but he wants that relationship with each of us.
You talked about going to camp and how that they really just worship God, that these teenagers, these young people, got it, as they say. And I think of that saying that's going around now, that Jesus just got her done when with the young people. Get her done. Why do you think that they got so turned on to the Lord? What happened at that camp?
There's no way to really explain what happened that night. We started worshiping God. It had been, in fact, the whole week we had been studying really God's bigness. We were at the beach, and when you look out over the ocean, you just see, you can't comprehend what you're seeing. It just kind of disappears in how big he is. And we had been studying that the whole time, and there's no way to say it except we were worshiping God, and God showed up and engaged us as much as we were engaging him, and the students felt it, and they just went for it and reached out, and when God shows up, amazing things happen, and it really changed all their lives. It was really neat.
What were some of the responses of the youth? You say that it changed their lives.
They were in shock, really, at first. Not ever experiencing anything like that. They didn't know exactly what to do. But they started, I don't want to use the term on fire, but their flame...
What's wrong with that?
Their flame really was turned on, and they started the interest built that this thing was, like I was talking about, it wasn't something made up, that it is true and it happens, and for God to show up and that he is truth and that he is happening, and they wanted more and more of this truth that they had found.
Well, there's so many youth, and Alabama's one of the main states with all the drugs that are here. When you hear them talking about it, how are you helping to encourage the youth that you're responsible for, or that you're in contact with, that cross your path and you touch their lives? How are you convincing them that that's not the right way to go? The drugs and drinking and all of that.
It's that truth that is not what the Creator wanted for us. It's not what was intended for us, and that harm and hurt. And really, we don't look at what it does, the drugs do for you. We looked at the after effect, and we watch lives being destroyed, and that the truth of drugs and the alcohol is just destruction of yourself, and that Jesus is life. And so we talk about the drugs and how they affect you, and then we look at the truth and the difference between the destruction and the life that they can have, and the difference there.
Well, why don't you give us some of the difference of the destruction and the life that we have, that you teach the young people?
Well, we can obviously see the effects of destruction if we open our eyes. You know, just look at the homes, the destruction, and you always hear about the alcoholic father, or the falling apart that comes with alcohol. And we'll just concentrate on alcohol, is that it changes personalities, it changes adults, and tears homes apart, and it seeps into the youth culture and just starts young, and it is just a cycle that keeps going and going. And why would a youth want that destruction? And for some truth to hang on to is that Jesus is life, that he gives life, and he wants us to live abundantly, and that abundance is what youth grab a hold on to. And what is abundance? And abundance isn't always good, but it is a joy. It is something you can be happy and wake up for every day and not be sad and mourn and mope over. It is really life to the fullest.
In one of the Sunday school classes where we had one of the girls said, "Well, I heard that drugs destroys brain cells, and I need all the brain cells I have to keep up these guys. So, so we don't want any brain cells disappearing and being crushed behind drugs and alcohol and all those things." So, how do you show them the abundance afterwards? I mean, that word is a big word, and it can mean so many things. But how specifically can you help a young 13 to 20-year-old, and whatever age you go to, the abundant life, the life with Christ?
The abundant life is very difficult to explain. Like you said, it is a big, big word. Mm-hmm. And our problem with it is that we don't have really any solid day-to-day examples. We can read about people, and we can watch them on TV and this supposed abundance life. But it's hard to find a person that that is living an abundance life for that to happen. So trying to get them to grasp hold of the abundant life is difficult. But when they start, like we were talking about, when they got worship and that truth came in, and they started reading and reading and reading the Bible, the abundant life started opening up for them. They realized that, you know what? The world doesn't have this right. The rest of the world does not have a grasp on what truth is. And they've gone so far away, the world's gone so far away from abundant life, that even the smallest glimpse of, you know what, this thing really is fun. Mm-hmm. That life can be fun without destruction.
I think there's a way that you have been able to communicate that to the youth, because after you spoke this past time, they gave you a standing ovation. They love you, and they really did just show their appreciation for you. Have you never been a person that did any of these evil things in all your...
Of course I have. taking the words of Paul is, I'm the worst sinner of all of them.
I don't believe it.
But what they need to hear the most, and what, it just hit me what that abundance is there is something missing out of society. And what I've tried to tell these guys, and I tell them every time before they leave them, is, you know what, guys? In the most non-sexual, most non-abrasive, not defending anything, I love you guys. And I really do. I love them, and I care for them, and I think they realize that. And really the key to reaching them is showing that you care. And once they know you care, they'll listen.
Mm-hmm. Haley, youth pastor at Crossmont Church. Haley, say your last name.
Uhrig.
Spell that.
Uhrig.
I can say that. Uhrig. Haley Uhrig. And we want to thank Chris also for running our PowerPoint and also running camera for us. We appreciate that very much. I'm Bonnie Libhart along with Haley Uhrig and Chris, and I see Pastor John Dees walking through the auditorium. Bless your heart for watching, and Merry Christmas to you.